afternoon, and everybody. Today we are going to start the fourth of our series of talks on meditation. And you recall that last time we spoke of the things that you could do to help or to encourage your awareness, sati, your mindfulness, to become more expansive. We said that the idea is to start with one object, the in and out movement of your breath, and then gradually to become increasingly aware of other things, other experiences. And the second thing we talked about was selecting some activity in your daily life, an ordinary activity, washing the dishes, going to the toilet, putting off or taking on your clothes, to select such an activity and at least to try to do that particular thing as mindfully as you can. Today what I'd like to talk about is not so much on how to expand your awareness by doing something in particular, but to both expand and integrate your awareness into yourself by developing a particular type of attitude or outlook, a particular way of meditating, a particular way of thinking about meditation. Now, as in all worthwhile activities, there are some ways of doing the practice that are not very helpful. And I would have to tell you, after many years of practicing meditation with others, and teaching others meditation, I'll have to tell you that I've often had the experience of meeting people who have been meditating sometimes for years, and either they don't seem to be any different from what they were before, or sometimes they're different but they're more negative, or sometimes even that they seem to have developed some genuine personality problems. And the interesting thing is that there are many different techniques of meditation. Even within one particular school of Dharma, say the Theravadan tradition, even within the Theravadan tradition, there are many different techniques of practicing meditation. In fact, I think it might be true to say that everybody who teaches meditation has their own particular slant, their own particular technique. And what I've noticed is when I meet people who seem to have genuinely benefited from their practice, they seem to come from all the different, or they seem to have practiced all the different techniques. Some Goenka people are fantastic, and some Mahasi Sayadaw students are really going very well, or some insight meditation students that seem to have benefited a great deal, or students of this particular Sayadaw or that particular Achan, and the obverse is true. When I look at people who don't seem to have either been changed by their meditation practice, or that they don't really seem to have benefited from their meditation practice, I notice they're in all particular techniques, some more than others. And this makes me think that, in actual fact, it's not the technique so much that is important, but the attitude, the outlook that you bring to it, how you do it. Not so much what you do, but how you do it. How do you do meditation? Not the technique, but what attitude do you bring to meditation that will make it something really beautiful and good for your life, a real benediction. My feeling is that there are three things. If you have these three things, if you welcome these three things into your practice, if you integrate these three things or take these three things into account as you meditate, your practice will be successful. It will transform you in ways that are really beneficial. And what are those three things? Piety, samatha, and dhammika. Piety, joy, a joyful outlook, a joyful attitude. Samatha, balance. And dhammika, naturalness. And it is these three things I'd like to talk about today. When you are sitting practicing meditation, and when you are trying to practice meditation integrating some meditation practice into your daily life, like washing the dishes mindfully, going to the toilet mindfully, cleaning your shoes mindfully, vacuuming the floor mindfully, and even when you are not meditating at all, consider the importance of these three things: joy, balance, naturalness. Why is joy important? You will have noticed by now that developing regularity of practice, sitting every day and sitting for the full time, at least in the beginning, is a challenge. You can think of numerous excuses, either to cancel your meditation sitting for today or to start it but to finish it early. We can think of a reason why not to do it tomorrow, and so on. But there comes a time when you go beyond the meditation for duty stage and you get to the stage where you're meditating because it's so good for you. You enjoy it. Enjoy. It is a joy. It gives you joy. When you've got to that stage, you don't have to make an effort anymore. You do it because you like it. So in actual fact, joy or happiness, felicity, is actually very important in meditation. Once you've got to the joy stage, the battle is won. And joy has all sorts of benefits, quite apart from being intrinsically valuable in itself. Now, not everybody seems to be like that. I meet meditators, indeed, I often meet meditators who seem to have become stern, unsmiling, rigid. They don't look happy. They look very, very serious. They never smile. One reason is because they've got it all wrong and they think that to be serious you've got to look serious. And another reason is that perhaps the meditation is actually not genuinely bringing about a change. When people ask me, what is the criteria by which I can determine whether my practice is working or not? And I always say, if you can look back and say, I'm happier, I'm more joyful than I was before, then definitely your practice is working. By that I don't mean that When you meditate, you'll be happy all the time. You'll never have any problems. You'll never be down. No, certainly not. But generally speaking, you are happier than you were before. Another value of joy is that over a period of time, against the background of joy, being more joyful in your life has the ability to dissolve or to untie some of the more deep-seated emotional knots or problems that you may have in the unconscious. Joy has this wonderful ability to rid you of any sort of deep-seated traits that you may have developed over a period of time. So how do you develop this joy? This is not so easy to say, but you can start by making sure that your body is always relaxed. Never tensen or tighten your body. Always keep your body comfortable and relaxed. Indeed, a period of yoga or a session of Tai Chi or some form of mindful exercise before you meditate is very helpful. And while you're meditating, every now and then putting your attention on certain parts of your body to make sure that they're not tight, that's very helpful too. But more than anything else, it's an attitude. I am meditating because I love myself. I am meditating as an act of kindness to myself. May my meditation succeed. May the defilements retreat. May the virtues expand. With an attitude like that, you tend to become more joyful. Another thing that helps joy is that you take the precepts seriously. The precepts are to avoid harming living things, rather to enhance life. The second precept is not to take what belongs to others, but rather to share with others what belongs to you. The third precept is to uphold the dignity of others by not taking advantage of them or exploiting them for your own pleasure. The fourth precept is, rather than communicating lies, to communicate the truth. To be truthful and have veracity in your communication with others. And the fifth precept is to respect your mind by always keeping it naturally alert, in its natural state, not befuddled by drugs or alcohol. These are the 5 precepts. And when you do this, it tends to decrease the conflicts that you have in your daily life and increase the joy. So in the case of the first precept, this allows me to respect the life of others. In the second precept, I develop a respect for the property of others. With the third precept, I respect the dignity of others. With the fourth precept, I respect the other's right to have the truth, to be spoken to truthfully. And in the fifth precept, I'm respecting the clarity of my own mind. Now, when I relate to others more with respect like this, in almost all cases, they will relate to me with a similar respect, and my life tends to become easier. Less tensions, less conflicts. And when that is the case, I tend to be happier. These are some of the things that you can do to enhance joy. And the more joy you have, the easier your meditation becomes. The more you want to meditate. Balance, samatha. Sometimes I think the only thing that prevents people from benefiting from meditation is simply a lack of balance, a sense of proportion. The typical meditator often goes like this. They become very interested in meditation, then they become very gung-ho. They want to meditate all the time. Naturally enough, very soon they become exhausted and they give up. No energy left anymore. About a week later they start to feel guilty. Oh my God, I haven't done any for a while. So they meditate with a vengeance again, and it's off, on, stop, start. No balance. Another problem can be that people disassociate meditation from the overall Dharma. They think that the Buddha taught the Noble One-Fold Path instead of the Noble Eightfold Path. They think that I can meditate and just proceed as before. And the reality is that's not possible. Meditation is one part of a system. The other part of the system is developing some understanding. Developing a morality, a sense of morality and integrity. And things like that. And so they don't have a balance. Meditation is ripped out of the whole system and done independently of the rest of the Dharma. There needs, for meditation to be successful, there needs to be a sense of balance and proportion and equipoise in all of the elements of the spiritual life. So, for example, there needs to be a balance between solitude and fellowship. Always going off to wanting to run away to the jungle or the Himalayas, living in a cave. It's a romantic thing. Spend time in solitude and silence. But don't forget your friends and your family too. Spend time with them. There needs to be a balance between meditation and an intellectual appreciation of the Dharma. Doing some reading, because it gives you a sense of direction. The Buddha's discourses are full of useful hints and guidelines on how to practice meditation. So if you are well versed in the theory, and that is balanced with practice as well, well, that's wonderful. That's very, very wonderful. There needs to be a balance between the state of the body and the state of the mind. This can be a problem in some traditional Buddhist countries. Buddhist monks sometimes don't do a lot of physical exercise. Indeed, sometimes they do none at all. Healthy body doesn't mean a healthy mind. But it's also true that a healthy mind does not necessarily mean automatically a healthy body. Look after your physical state. Take some account of your diet. Exercise your body. Treat it kindly. And then it will become a suitable place in which your mind can dwell. So a balance between these two is very good. There needs to be a balance between exerting yourself and knowing when to take it easy. The Buddha said that success in meditation in relation to the energy input you put into your practice is like catching a quail by hand. You know, a quail is this small bird. So he said it's like a a man who catches a quail in his hands. If he doesn't hold it tight enough, it will fly through his fingers. If he holds it too tight, he might squeeze it to death. He has to know just the right balance in the energy. And so it is with meditation. If you're alert and sensitive to yourself, you'll know when to increase the pressure a little bit, when to loosen a bit. So balancing your energy too, very, very helpful, extremely helpful in your practice. So that's the second thing that you need to bring to your practice, a sense of balance in everything that you do. And the last thing, Dhammika, that which is natural, being natural. Sometimes the way people meditate, rather than becoming mindful, they become, what you might say, awkwardly self-aware. Awkwardly conscious of themselves, and indeed awkwardly conscious of all sorts of things. You see some people, the way they practice the precepts, they're constantly worried about whether they stood on an ant accidentally or not. Constantly nervous about whether they respected the teacher in the right way. Always worried about whether they're doing it in the right way, and so on. So they become aware, but it's sort of the wrong type of awareness. Another thing is that there comes a time when your practice has to just become a natural part of your daily life. So in the beginning, and indeed for quite a long time, selecting a time and a place and using a particular technique is not only helpful, I would say that it's absolutely essential. But if it remains like that, then this may not be helpful. There comes a time when, having climbed up, you can knock the ladder aside. Having crossed the stream, you can abandon the raft. Now, many people want to knock the ladder aside or abandon the raft long before they should. However, becoming more natural, relaxed in your practice is extremely helpful, both when you're meditating and when you're not meditating. Allowing it to be just a normal part of your life. No big deal. Nothing special. The attitude, I think, I have never heard it so beautifully and accurately summed up by that old Zen saying, sitting quietly, doing nothing, the spring comes and the grass grows by itself. That's a very beautiful way of putting it. If we're constantly looking over our shoulder to see how far we have come, if we're always looking ahead to see how far we're going, if every time we talk to our fellow meditators we're nervously discussing which of the various steps we've reached, this may not be a good sign. Allow your meditation to unfold naturally. When awareness is ready, it will come. Your job is to put all the pieces in place, sit and do your practice, and allow the flowers to bloom when they are ready. Now, if you do these three things, if you bring these three things to your meditation, there is no doubt that it will be very, very helpful. allow your meditation to gradually, indeed, allow your whole life to gradually become more joyful. Do everything you do with a sense of balance and proportion. And as much as possible, allow things to gradually unfold naturally. And if you do this, your meditation will be going very, very well. Next week, next time, I want to introduce to you another type of meditation to go hand in hand with what we've talked about so far. So if there's nothing else, we'll finish for today. Thank you for listening.